there, fellow marketers. Professor Walters here. And have you ever wondered which influencer is going to be best for my business to work with? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today, is basically how do you know the right influencer? Because here's the thing, sometimes an influencers you don't even think could really help your business could do a fantastic job of boosting your business, and other ones which you think would be a great idea because they have a huge following might be a total failure. So when we're starting to look at influencers to work with, before you reach out to any of them, before you ask them, hey, what are your rates? Can I get your media kit? What you want to do is do your homework. That is the very first step, because by doing your homework, you can find the ones that are more likely to work with you than others. And it's not just work with you in terms of specifically working with you and your business, but working with what you want to get done. If you want to get the word out about your business, or you want people to buy things, or whatever, the different influences that are out there can have a very different impact. So that's why it's really important. And I think what you really want to start with is looking to see who is really talking about your industry online. Who are the known people in it? So if you're looking at in terms of people that are talking about YouTube and working in YouTube, you've got the Nick Nimmons out there, the Daryl Eves, Roberto Blakes. These are guys that really talk about YouTube and the business sense of YouTube, but they're the ones that are out there. And so you want to kind of see about who those big people are. So you see, and the thing is, it's different. If you're in toys, if you're in food, if you're in whatever, there are certain people that are kind of like the known entities that are there. Even though there's lots of people that review products, Marcus Brownlee is famous for really doing the tech. Like, that's one of the kind of drives the thing. So that's the first step. Who are those people that really kind of drive the talk about your industry online? And the thing is, when you're looking at who drives the industry, you also want to kind of look at and see which influencers are really trusted in that niche, because there's a lot of people that might talk about something, but do you really trust them about that topic? Because there's things that you might look at because it's fun to watch, or it's educational or whatever, but then there's other ones that you really trust, and that's the difference out there. We want to work with the people that people trust in that niche, not just somebody that's big in that niche. Because you're looking for these trusted voices, because people get millions of views about something about travel destinations, let's say, but the thing is, just because they're jumping off a cliff and making it look cool, doesn't mean there might get a lot of people actually wanting to do that. Like, I have people I follow because they're cool to watch what they do, but I don't necessarily trust them with their advice and what they should do when they travel. And that's the thing, is you want to make sure you're making that distinct difference between who's popular and who's influential. And then once you kind of have an idea of who's talking about the industry, who are the popular ones, who are the influential ones, who are the trusted ones, then you want to look at in terms of what the trends are and what's basically what's the topics that really dominate the influencers talk about your industry. So if you're talking about YouTube, what does everyone always want to know about? The algorithm, any YouTube changes that are out there, monetization, like those are the key things. That's what people really focus on. And that's just it. If people are known for those specific topics that people really care about, they're more likely people are going to listen to them, and they're going to listen to them when they talk about your products to be an influencer marketer for you. Whereas they talk about more of those fringe topics, that might not have as much impact for you. Because when you're doing this homework, you start to see, it's like, who are the people that are really talking about the key things in the industry, who are sharing good information, versus the people who are doing the fear mongering. Oh no, you're going to lose your YouTube channel, don't do this. That's not necessarily the perks you really want to listen to when it's something that's really like, hey, look, I'm not doing a topic people are scared about or that's controversial. I'm just talking about like food. And so once you know the main topics they're talking about, those people that are involved, it really helps you know kind of the difference between the people that are like talking fluff or people that are doing like fear-mongering stuff versus people that are actually sharing good information that people listen to. Because if you want to hire an influencer, you want to hire the one that is influencing people, getting people to listen to them and take their advice. Now you're doing this homework and you've got ideas of some of the key players that are out there. Now the next thing you want to do is not just glance at their stuff, not just look at their like main page, oh, that's their views and that's their subscribers. No, what you want to do is you want to like investigate. You want to do a deep dive in them and into that influencer. Go and read their posts, watch their videos, okay? Check their website, what's out there, who did they work with, and then go find, if they said they work with this product, go find the the videos or the posts about that product to see if it's true. Because I'll tell you what, there's a lot of influencer fraud out there where people will say, hey, yes, we work with these people, we did this, and they didn't really do it. Like, I've had people contact me and like, hey, did you work with this product? No, I never did. Oh, well, they said you did. I'm like, no, I never did. So you want to be aware of that. That's why you want to do that. You don't just say, oh, well, it looked good. No, read through, because then you'll see, oh, are they just doing everything with AI? Or Is it like lots of typos, or is it a lot of like clickbait stuff? What's up on there? How are they actually using the integration with the brands they work with? By doing that, you start to see it's like, hey, what do they do? Will this work for us or not, right? And so you want to think about that. And maybe you want to look and see like what's their overall vibe, because the numbers may say they have lots of followers, but is it more of an edgy feel, or is it more funny? Is it more educational? What's it about? Because you want to make sure that kind of fits with you. And that's where it takes you to actually read the blogs or look at their posts, go on their TikToks, their LinkedIn, their YouTubes, all these kind of things to see what they're really doing. Because what you start to see is their values. What are they putting their time and effort into? And when you start to see that their values align with your values, that makes for a much more, I would say, like natural partnership between you and that influencer, or if you're an influencer, with you and that brand, then work with someone that doesn't work with you. That's why some brands will reach out to us to work with us. I'm like, it doesn't, like, gambling doesn't really fit with what I'm trying to do. That's not really like my vibe. I don't gamble myself. I don't advise gambling at all. And then you want me to do gambling stuff? I don't think it's going to fit. Oh, but you've got all these viewers, you got all these subs. We'd really love to work with you, because they just want the reach. We talk about that. Watch the 3R video on reach, relevance, these kind of things. But the thing is, like, hey, it doesn't really work. You want to make sure that you do have more of that alignment, because that's going to make for a better influencer, and it's going to be much more impactful in terms of their audience really kind of believing in your product and being more willing to try it. And so some things you might want to do, if you think about the marketing area, the positional mapping, where you kind of, the price quality ratio kind of stuff, you kind of line it up, maybe put in some of your values, like honesty and fun, or like value versus expensive, whatever, and start to see, it's like, hey, do we kind of line up? Is it family friendly enough for to work with us, or is it too much? I mean, this is something that brands have to kind of think about, because if I'm a kid-friendly brand, right, and like, do I want to have someone goes a little bit risque on their topics? Probably not, because we don't want to insult any or upset any parent out there, because we're focusing on kid stuff. So something we want to kind of think about to give an idea of, do we really kind of fit up? So now, once you've done these things, you've investigated your industry and the online stuff there, you've looked at the different influencers, kind of investigated, did your homework on them. Now it's time to reach out a bit more. Now you want to get in their media kit. And we have a video that you should watch next that goes into what goes into a media kit. But you want to go look at that media kit and see what's there. Look at the stats they have, the followers they have, the demographic breakdown. Does it fit with your audience, right? The views, the engagement rate they have. Are people actually clicking on things? Because this is stuff you want to know, because they might get 1 million views, but if they only get 100 likes on the videos, that's not really the kind of engagement you want. So that's why you want to get these, these media kits to kind of see what's going on. But also, it'll give even more stuff. That's where they'll lay out their previous collaborations, what are the brands they work with, because you might see they work with one of your competitors, and do I want to work with somebody that worked with my competitor? That we might have some, cross stuff here. I don't know, but that's one of the things you want to do. But we're going to go to another video to talk about those media kits, because that's the next thing you need to do in terms of seeing if they're the right ones for you. But this gives you a really good base to really start to figure out which influencers we should work with. All right. So if you want to learn more about influencer marketing and marketing in general, do subscribe to Professor Walters, because we like to help out no matter where we are in the world, and no matter where you are too. Bye from here in Savannah, Georgia.